There are many people who believe that professional footballers live above the law. When they get into trouble with the law, they seem to get away without barely a slap on the wrist. Just recently, Liverpool captain Steven Gerrard was involved in an altercation at a nightclub that left him facing assault charges. If convicted, Gerrard could have been looking at time in prison, which would put his glory days at Anfield behind him. However, as many people expected, Gerrard got off unscathed, with many people citing that he is a professional footballer as one of the reasons why. However, as footballers are punished on the field with yellow and red cards, they are not actually above the law off the field either. There have been a few who have been caught breaking the law, and have been made to pay the punishment. Before we begin with the list, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more updates you would like to know. Here are 8 footballers who have spent some time of their life in jail, in no particular order. 1. Adam Chapman. In 2009, Chapman pleaded guilty to causing the death of another man because of reckless driving. He was sentenced to 30 months in a youth offenders institute. The young Irishman has just been released from prison earlier this month and is set to resume his career with Oxford United. He has scored 5 goals in his Oxford United career. 2. James Cotterill. In a twist to what's usual, Cotterill was jailed for something that happened on the pitch. In a 2006 FA Cup match, while playing for Barrow, Cotterill punched Sean Rigg of Bristol Rovers. The shot left Rigg with a double fracture of the jaw, forcing him to eat with a teaspoon and drink through a straw. After the incident was seen on Match of the Day that night in England, Cotterill was banned from all football by the English FA until March of 2007. In January of 2007, Cotterill was sentenced to 4 months in prison after pleading guilty to grievous bodily harm. He would be released just a few weeks later in February. However, he was put on house arrest, forcing him to wear an ankle bracelet around his home. 3. Ian Wright. The former Arsenal and Crystal Palace star simply thought he could get away with something totally avoidable. At one point in time, Wright owned 2 cars but decided not to pay his insurance or his taxes on the 2 automobiles. While this probably worked out dandy for a while, eventually the government found him out, and he was sentenced to 14 days in prison for his actions, or lack thereof. 4. Stig Tofting. After a successful career in Germany, the Danish footballer moved his career to the Premier League's Bolton Wanderers, where he would run into trouble. In a celebration with his Danish teammates following the 2002 World Cup, Tofting head-butted the owner of a restaurant in Copenhagen. After trial, Tofting was convicted for assault and sentenced to 4 months in prison. Following his conviction, his contract at Bolton was reduced until of the end of 2003, and he finished the 2003 campaign serving his prison sentence. 5. Peter Swan. Peter Swan was one of the greatest players to ever play for Sheffield Wednesday. He will not be remembered for that though. Though he was a potential world-class player, Swan had 8 of his best years stolen from him as he was banned from football by the FA. In 1962, Swan and 2 other Wednesday teammates bet on Wednesday to lose their final match of the season to Ipswich Town FC. Ipswich won the match 2-0. And while Swan says they won the match fairly, he also said he does not know what he would have done had Wednesday been winning. When the gambling ring had been found out, Swan was banned from football and was later sentenced to 4 months in prison. 6. Nazar Trabelsi. Trabelsi spent 1 season in Germany with club Fortuna Düsseldorf, and boy what a cover that was. He made just 1 league appearance for the club, scoring a goal, a pretty big accomplishment for someone that will not be remembered as a professional footballer. Just after his first match, Trabelsi was arrested for having connections to Al-Qaeda. Trabelsi was convicted of plotting an attack against American soldiers stationed at a Belgian airbase. He was also suspected of plotting the Paris embassy terrorist plot, and was allegedly supposed to be the suicide bomber who would carry out the attack. In 2003, Trabelsi was sentenced to 10 years in prison. 7. Lee Hughes. The West Bromwich Albion striker's life took a turn for the worse in 2004. One night Hughes was behind the wheel when he crashed his Mercedes with another car, killing a passenger in the other car. To make matters worse, Hughes and his passenger fled the scene, amid reports that Hughes had been driving drunk. The following day Hughes turned himself in and was released on police bail. In 2004, Hughes was convicted of death by dangerous driving and leaving the scene of an accident. Hughes was sentenced to 6 years in prison and banned from driving for 10 years. 8. Joey Barton. It's no shock that a man who plays the way Joey Barton plays would get himself into off-the-field trouble as well as on-the-field trouble. Barton has twice been convicted for violent charges. The first incident came when he drove his car into a pedestrian at 2 a.m. in the Liverpool city centre. Barton was convicted of assault and served 77 days in prison. Barton was released from prison on July 28, 2008. However, during his sentence, on July 1, 2008, Barton received a 4-month suspended sentence after admitting assault occasioning actual body harm against his former Manchester City teammate Osemi Dobbo. Violence seems to run in the Barton family as well. Joey's half-brother, Michael, was given a life term in prison for his involvement in the racial murder of Anthony Walker in 2005. Let me know in the comments section what you think of these crimes and their punishment. Fair or not fair? Stay tuned for the part 2 on players who have spent some of their life in jail. See you later.